Hi folks, well this is the last edition of the Road Trip video blog. You've been seeing it every day if you've been clicking into the OPSEU website. Perhaps you just clicked in once or twice. It's all there, so if you've missed any of these exciting episodes, you can go back and catch up. Our assignment was, of course, to go to the US of A and to investigate right-to-work law, the right-to-work law. This law, which really has nothing to do with right to work. What it really means is the right of a union member not to pay dues to the union, but still get all the benefits of the contract. It's been a law that's been in effect in the USA in many states since the early 1950s. The latest was Michigan to adopt this law just in 2012. So that's where we headed first, to talk to some of the people involved in that struggle. Ultimately unsuccessful for the labor movement because Michigan now is the 24th state to have a right to work law. We've talked to many dynamic people on this journey. One of them in Michigan was Dan Dennis. He's a science teacher. And in 1999, when Michigan was still a non-right to work state, he moved to North Carolina, a right to work state. What was the effect? The effect was, first of all, he took a $10,000 cut in pay. He lost many of his medical benefits. He couldn't cover his wife anymore under his family plan. She had to get private insurance, which was so expensive that after a year they had to drop it. So for the last 3 years they were in North Carolina, she didn't have any insurance at all. You've probably also seen Gilda Cobb Hunter, a dynamic congresswoman from the state of South Carolina. She is a person who fights regularly for working people, and even though she's not a trade unionist per se, she's a big supporter of the movement. She talked about state employees very powerfully. The state employees union, which would be the equivalent of OPSEU in South Carolina, has a number of drawbacks. The biggest one being, of course, that it is illegal in South Carolina for unions to negotiate. Obviously they can't strike, they have an association, they try to do their best, but still today state workers in South Carolina are grossly underpaid. For example, a highway worker in South Carolina would make $15,000 a year. A middle manager would make about $35,000, and we're told that many of the professional jobs in the civil service there would pay 30-40% less than in the private sector. Why wouldn't people then go to the private sector if they could get 40% more pay? Well, because jobs are hard to come by in South Carolina, which really puts lie to the argument that you hear from proponents of right to work, that it creates jobs, that it brings prosperity. South Carolina's had right to work since 1954, and if it was going to work, you'd think it would be working now. Also, we met Ken Riley, longshoreman of one of perhaps the last unions standing in South Carolina, a dynamic man who was really a big help in making this film, because our real job down here was not this blog, not the written blog, not the video blog. Our job is to make a film, a documentary, that will bring this story to all OPSEU members, not just the ones that click on this blog, in a polished form. And so Ken Riley got us into talk to state workers, not an easy thing to do. He got us to the docks in Charleston, and Ken Riley has his own interesting story. He, in about 2000, January 19th, 2000 to be exact, was involved in a pivotal struggle in South Carolina, which really prevented the absolute extinction of unions in South Carolina, because there's a lot of other anti-labor legislation in South Carolina. This was a dock workers strike, a picket, attacked by police. Riley himself was smacked between the eyes with a baton, got 12 stitches, but ultimately that strike was successful, and that union survived. And Riley has now tried to organize and lead and improve, expand the labor movement in South Carolina, which is a very difficult job, because at this point, less than 5% of people in South Carolina, workers in South Carolina, belong to a union. Why? Because they have right-to-work legislation. They've had it for a long time. And what Riley was telling us was that once a right-to-work law is passed, and we know that many Canadian politicians are promoting this idea, many conservative politicians, they're all conservative politicians as a matter of fact, are promoting this idea, but what Riley says that once you get that law, others follow. And once those other laws follow, then unions lose strength, disappear altogether, and he and Gilda Cobb Hunter, and let's face it, everyone we talked to said, this is really an attack on the middle class. When you attack good-paying union jobs, it's the middle class you're attacking. And if you want to understand why the income gap is growing between the people with the most and the people with the least, perhaps it's the fact that in the United States, unions are in a decline. It used to be that 35% of all American workers were organized. Today, it's less than 12%. Now, we've been in this van, in and out of hotel rooms for 11 days, going on 12. We're finished our work. We're headed back for Toronto. We'll be back in a couple days. And I just want to say that it's been a real privilege to work with these three members from OPSEU, your three staff members. I'm a private contractor, of course. My union is the Canadian Wire Service Guild, and I was asked to help produce this film. Jason, our driver, who's taken us everywhere safely. He's backed into every single parking space he could find. He never backed into a conversation, and being a Maritimer, of course, he was able to chat up everybody immediately and put people at ease and just have people relax. Aura, who was our logistics person, made sure we had places to sleep, and just about everything else that we had to do, whether it was food. Aura, by the way, took about 8,000 or 10,000 pictures. We often lost her on the street. It was like, where's Aura? Poof, Aura's disappeared. And now we have Aura back. She's right beside me off camera here with her 10,000 pictures. She's put some of those up on the blog too, if you want to take a look. And behind the camera is Anna. Anna is like any professional camera person. She will tell Jason when to stop, where to stop, orders him around constantly because whenever she sees a shot that she has to get, then she gets it. And she has probably worked harder than anybody else on this trip because besides doing all that, at night she has to put this blog together. And we've been working maybe 10, 12, 15-hour days. 10 would be the least we've been working. We've had one day off in the last 11. And okay, so now we'll get down to the really important stuff. The question I know that you're all asking is, have you had any big fights? Well, no, we haven't, actually. We haven't even had any little fights. We had a lot of laughs in those 12 and 15-hour days. There's a story, actually, of Anna and the juju fish. Now, I don't know if you know what juju fish are, actually, but juju fish are kind of a gummy bear kind of a candy. And we happened to stop at a Dollarama store. I think it was Dollar General, actually. It's not Dollarama in the U.S. And Anna went in and she came out with this large bag. I think it was economy size, but very large bag of juju fish. And so she was sitting in the back. I was sitting up front with Jason. She was back here. And then I heard this wail. It was like, oh no, what have I done? Anna, what she'd done was, of course, she ate the whole bag of juju fish all by herself. And she was distraught. She said, how could I have done such a thing? And she got over it. Well, she kind of got over it, but then it only got worse because then Jason decided to tell her that juju fish have gelatin in them and that gelatin is made in part with ground up cow bones. And Anna, being an animal lover, she was distraught again. She put her face in her hands and we had to kind of talk her down. So we've weathered those storms. We're on our way back. We have a lot of dynamic people for you to see in this film. I'm not really sure when it comes out. We're going to try for Labor Day, but the way these things go in terms of editing, post-production, and so on, you can never really tell. But when it comes out, we hope everyone will see it and understand how this legislation really works in practice. In Canada now, it's an idea that's being floated by conservative politicians. In the US, people actually have to live with it. And I think you'll find in all the people we talk to that it does not bring prosperity. In fact, it brings exactly the opposite result. So that's it. I hope you enjoy the movie when it comes out. Bye for now.